Okay, this is wonderful. Hello, everyone. How are you? I
I'm
can't
trying
believe
to
it's already
silence it there so
it's
I
already
can.
August, and just wanted to welcome everybody in. I'm Tracy Black, and we're doing a book study on the four-year career. That's this right here. And so I thought it'd be really fun for us to get together and talk about the first five chapters of the four-year career, and just to give you a little bit of backstory. Um, when we were at convention, many of us, I think most of us on this call, ended up going to a session with the author, Richard Bliss Brooke, and he just totally knocked our socks off. I've seen him speak before. He is amazing. But the book really is a game changer if you're considering a network marketing business like Young Living. And so we really wanted to delve into the book and talk about things that we learned, take some of the concepts that we learned into practice. And really, kind of the crux of it is this really is the number one tool we can all be using to find business builders. Does anybody on here ever feel like I would like to find more business builders? Who is that? I'm gonna change this to our gallery view. I hope everybody's raising their hands, right? Everybody's like, yes, I would like to find more people who want to do this with me, right? I'm telling you, this is the tool to do it. This is the book to do it. Because you know what it is I think oftentimes we are talking to people about the how, right? Like how you can get started, how to share your link, how to grab the class scripts, how to be sharing, but we're not really spending a lot of time on the why. And the why is this: the why is right here in this book. And so, again, I think this is going to be really great for us to kind of do a deep dive here. But before we get started, I thought it'd be really cool just to do kind of a quick introduction. Maybe everybody tell us your name and where you're tuning in from. And is this your first time reading The Four-Year Career? I will start with Katie. Hi, Katie.
Hey, I'm Katie. I am from Northern Virginia, currently in Manassas right now. And this is my first time reading the book. I've had this for a long time on my bookshelf, and I actually just got another copy of it. So I shared my original copy with my friend Janet, who's on this call. And yeah, I'm happy I'm really excited to dive into it, and I've found it very interesting so far. So I'm excited.
Awesome. Thank you. Amber, why don't we have you go next?
All right. Hi, everybody. I am Amber. Hi, I'm in Minnesota right now. And I've been with Young Living Building about 5 years. I just was able to attend convention for my first time in person this summer, and it was amazing. So if you guys haven't been before, 10 out of 10 recommend. You definitely should. And so I also was able to go and see the author Richard Brooks in person, and he was amazing. Like Katie, I've had this on my shelf for years, probably close to 5 years at the beginning. I don't know, Tracy, maybe even you might have sent me one, I feel like at one point, and never went any farther than that just because I was overwhelmed with all the other things. But I really like this is really feeling it empowers you to feel like you are knowledgeable enough to tell the why of why you should build. That's always been kind of my thing. I haven't felt confident enough. Like I always feel like I'm young in my business. And so I haven't wanted to share the business side of it until like I have achieved big enough goals to share it. And so this is really cool to me because it feels like it gives really fact-based information that you can share along. So I'm stoked. I'm excited.
That's so good, Amber. Really good insights there. Thank you for sharing. Amy, why don't we have you go next?
Hi everybody, I'm Amy. I'm in Pennsylvania, northeastern Pennsylvania. We have there's like nobody here anywhere around us, like nobody. Um yeah, so this is my third year coming to convention, and we also went to see, my husband and I also went to see Richard, and it was the first time I ever saw him speak. I've been with Young Living for 5 years, building for about four, and I've had the book probably since from the beginning, from the time I started building, and I never read it. I don't read really. I listen to books now because I fall asleep when I read. So I highly recommend audiobooks. They are fantastic. They get you reading. So I really like those. And so I listened to this and it was awesome. Um I really, I really, really like Richard's approach. because he is just like, he's no BS. That's kind of the thing. Like, there's no frills about what he does. And I think that's what makes him really amazing. That's what this book, I think, is really good at doing, is it really just projects everything about the business without, and it's, I mean, the industry in general, but really Young Living's business in general. With no BS. There's nothing like, it's not like, oh yeah, Young Living, but, you know, like, I mean, obviously we're awesome, but it's not just about Young Living being awesome. It's really just fact based, and that's, I think, what is great about this book.
Oh, that was so good, Amy. Thank you. Let's see, Christine, let's have you go next.
Hey everyone, hope you can hear me. I was having a little bit of technology difficulties. I'm Christine. I actually live in Richmond, Virginia. Next year will actually be my first convention. So I'm so excited. I finally got up the courage and did some financial move arounds to make sure I can attend and all that good stuff. Ideally, like in Richmond, there's not a lot of people that truly understand the why for essential oils in general. So that's my biggest takeaway with Young Living as well, is getting people to see that all natural switch, why it impacts it. Best thing that I do is I tell why it helps me. I have asthma. So like a lot of the RC oils and deep relief and all that good stuff, they're always a key factor, because a lot of the times, there was one time where my inhaler ran out and I didn't have an option. The doctor's office was closed, and I took that oil and I put it in a roller, and it just kind of helped me get back to my normal state and everything. But also to just in general, how to run the business. I want to be involved in the community, but I also want to make sure that I'm involved on the business side. Something in the book that it said, like, you want to make money while you're still sleeping. So I definitely want to make sure I grow a team and get the Young Living more so in Richmond than it already is. So I'm excited.
Thank you so much for sharing. For some of our people who are just showing up, we're just kind of doing a quick introduction, your name, where you're from, and is this your first time reading the book? Caroline, I don't think we had you go yet, so please come share.
There we go. Sorry, I'd unmute. I'm in southeastern Pennsylvania, on the other end of the state. This is not my first time reading it. It's actually at least my second time reading it. I was a builder for a while, and then I had some family things I had to do. I'd take care of my dad. He was on hospice and stuff like that. So my team kind of flatlined. So now at this point, I'm like, yeah, I want to get back into it. So this book is a great jumpstart to remind you why did you want to do this, and how did you do it, and what are the steps to do it and get back on the ball.
Thank you so much, Carolyn, for sharing. Sherry, how about we have you?
Hi, I'm Sherry Placco. I'm in the Chicago area. I read this book in 2016 when I first started my business, and it's been sitting on a shelf ever since. But you know, post COVID, I feel like my team like just kind of all fell apart. So I've always been a big one to like kind of build my whole team by myself. But I really, you know, you're never going to get where you want to go if you're the only one building. So I'm really reading this to re-energize myself, to share with other builders, to help energize them.
I love it. Thank you so much. All right, Carmen, can you come in and share?
Hi everyone. Yes, I'm on my phone. My computer is failing on me. I'm so sorry. I'm Carmen Iris de Jesus, and I live in Williamsburg, Virginia. So the person that is from Richmond, Virginia, we are just like 30 minutes away. So we need to meet and team up with this. And something that you mentioned, that in Richmond, Virginia, they're not into holistic type. It's just that the culture in that area is in their 20s, mid 30s. And it's because of the college culture that is there. And there's a good turnover year after year of new people coming and going and leave. Like they come and they leave. So that's why it's kind of like difficult to kind of like have people involved, because I have been in that market. I used to work there in in Richmond, and for me, I can relate with that because it was kind of hard for me too. So with the book, when I started Young Living, it wasn't like building, it was in 2017. I read the book because you actually sent it to me. Um, but I never kind of like understand it. And because I believe that when I started building, my team, it started like building up kind of quickly. And because I did not have that understanding of the actual how to build it nicely, how Richard explains here in the book. So maybe that's why I lost the momentum at that time. I would say, I don't know, that's my opinion, my personal opinion. And but reading it this time, I said, you know what, let me reread this. And I'm very excited about it because I'm actually understanding some verbiage like the generations. And I did not have any idea about that. And reading this book, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been missing out about this. And how simple it is. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna start from fresh. Yes, I do have some team members in my group, but I think that I'm gonna restart my journey in building. I will say, to start it over, like focusing how Richard explains it here, because it's so simple and it's doable to do it. And so there's a lot of things that, as I mentioned at the beginning in the chat, that my mom has always been doing something like a side hustle. And when I read in the book that one of the companies that it was with Shaklee. So my mom has been doing this forever, and I was like, I didn't know that that was a multi-level company. I was like, oh my gosh. So that's why I see that I never understood then this system. And now that I do it, I say, oh my goodness, I could have helped my mom to actually build her business. But we didn't know, and so, but it's okay. So I'm very excited about this, and there's a lot of things that I wish that I knew in the back, but that's okay. That passed. It was good. It was wonderful. Young Living has helped me a lot. I have a good testimony about Young Living business and how it has helped me financially as well. But I just wanted to start fresh and just keep going and try to help as many as I can with building as well.
I love it. Thank you so much, Carmen. Okay, Indira, you want to come on and introduce yourself? Thank you.
Okay, Sarah, okay. I'm on my phone too, so I was like looking for the unmute button. I was like, where is it? So I'm Indira Medina, and I also live in Virginia. I live on the Eastern Shore of Virginia. So Eastern Shore is a peninsula. You can like across like Virginia Beach, and you go up. So I live really like close to Maryland. So it's a long peninsula. I live closer up to Maryland, but I'm still in Virginia. So maybe all of us Virginians can get together and do something. So this book is amazing. I mean, like I have wanted, I think I got my first kit in 2018, I think. And I always wanted to read the book, but I never did. And I never really understood network marketing and how you build. So this book has been, I've only read the first 5 chapters, but I'm learning so much. And one of the things that I've struggled with is doubt, just like nobody, like listening to what others say and what they think. Because when I first joined and I was like, I'm going to build this business, whatever this thing is, but this sounds like fun. My mom was like, like just had these like mixed reactions, kind of like she felt bad for me, like I was crazy. Then she was kind of like mad at me for doing that. And so that just impacted me a lot. And that I feel like has really held me back all these years. Just like that doubt, like, oh my gosh, maybe maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe this business isn't actually legitimate. But this book is really helping me understand more and how it is a legitimate business and how, it can really help me out. And and it's building at my own pace. You know, it's just making me, I guess, feel more confident about it. So I'm happy. Thank you, Tracy, for starting this.
Yay, I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, we were all fired up at convention. We're like, we need to reread this book for those of us who have read it before. And then a lot of new folks are like, I haven't read it yet. We're like, oh, this is the number one thing. So thank you so much for that. And Janet, welcome, welcome. So excited to meet you. I don't know if you had a chance to read the book, but we would love to just meet you. So come on and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, thank you. Yeah, I've started the book. I'm not finished, but I've started. And so I live in Virginia. I live in Burke near Katy. And this is my first time reading the book. I do not have a Young Living business. I'm a Young Living super fan. So Katy helps me with a lot of my questions that I have. I'm in the process of standing up a wellness nutritional coaching business. I'm a nurse practitioner by trade. So I think the network marketing concept applies to a lot of things that you can do. You know, I'm looking at some subscription-based options for some coaching that I'm doing and other things. So I think there's a sort of an area in there where we all overlap. And so certainly the concepts can apply to all. So I'm really excited about that and to be here. And who knows, maybe at the end of this, I will add to Katy and start my own Young Living business. But in the meantime, just really excited to share and understand like the same concepts that people are talking about, self-doubt, like all the things that we sort of, you know, draw on to motivate ourselves, the worries, fears, those are all shared. So I'm really excited to understand more about that, learn more about the book, and just be with you wonderful people.
Well, welcome. It is so great to have you. I think what you're going to see with all of us and just what we have is just an amazing community. I mean, it really is kind of unmatched anywhere. It's just phenomenal. It's basically everybody rooting for each other. Nobody's in competition. We're all just here to help each other out. I mean, you can see, look at all the Virginians we have here. Everybody's just rooting for each other. Nobody's even on each other's teams per se. We're all kind of like, you know, everybody's sort of like cousins in the organization, and everybody's just kind of rooting for each other and lifting each other up. So that's definitely like the difference. But thank you. So I think that we got to everybody, but wanted to let's just have some open discussion. Tell me, did anybody have any aha moments reading this book? Like, oh my gosh, that just slapped me in the head. I can't even believe it. This was such a huge thing. There's a couple of things for me, but I'll go last. I would love to hear from anybody who had kind of an aha moment reading the book. Yeah, Amy, please.
So I know we were supposed to do 1 through 5. I have no idea where this was. I just know that this is what like stood out to me the most, is that I was like Sherry, where like I mean, I have a couple people that build under me, don't get me wrong, but they're not active builders where they just do it constantly like I do. And like I know like duplication and building is where you're going to get to where you want to get to. That's obvious, but I think the aha moment in the book is where it's like your the residual income comes from your 4th generation. That is the aha moment. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm never getting there if I don't get my builders. Like that's never going to happen. So I need to find my builders. And the fact that you really only need like 4. Like if you just get your 4 and then they get their 4, like it's always been like, I know how our basically our business model looks if we set it up really, you know, ideally, and not like mine is set up because I didn't know what I was doing when I started. So I have like this big long branch of people in the underneath in the start, but I know ideally what it should look like and everything. But if we just have 4 builders that are, you know, relatively active, you really are set up to do what you want to do and to get that model that they have set out there for you. And it's not, I mean, it is hard. It's not like, not that it's hard. It's not that it's not impossible. It just makes it like so much more attainable when you look at it that way. And that was like oh boy, that's not impossible at all, you know? And like that is really like now that's what I'm trying to go for, is those 4 builders that are like me, you know, or like you guys. That's really what I'm looking for now. That makes so much more sense to me than just looking for, all these customers that are going to, build our OGV underneath of us, that just makes so much more sense.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. When he talks about like the 3 things you need, right? Like be a raving fan, recommend the products, and then invite others to take a look. I think as an organization, like our team does a phenomenal job as raving fans and recommending the product. It's that third piece of inviting people to take a look. And even I'm guilty of this. And so that's why I feel like this is the book. Like, I love that Katie shared this with Janet. She was like, come to this call. Here is this book. Come in. And that's exactly what we need to be doing with this book. But yeah, I mean, the statistics were unreal. Like 75% of your income is going to be coming from your 4th generation and on. So it's like head explosion. Let's get this going. Let's start our 4, help them start their 4, and help them start their 4. Yeah, that was really good, Amy.
Can I add on to that?
Please.
So when I first started, and I think I was trying to work on same, Amy, like my organization in the beginning is just chaos. Like I didn't know where to place people. And so I think maybe it was Erin Rogers, or I think it was Erin. I was watching some of her videos. Like she has some really great videos about where to place people. But what she said, and again, somebody said it earlier, like I wasn't ready to understand it until I read this book now 5 years in, but it triggered a memory for me that I think Erin said, focus on building a sea of stars. And that makes it so much more attainable of helping one friend get 4 or 5 people, helping another friend get 4 or 5 people. And it makes it feel more attainable to me. And that just stuck with me for whatever reason, of a sea of stars is doable instead of having to worry about building these huge legs that seem overwhelming, but just helping your friends, your people who want to build it, to help them get started. And then from there, having them branch off too, like it makes it more realistic, I guess, for me.
That's so good. Anyone else have something to share? An aha moment you had reading the book or
I
reread?
do.
Please
Mhm,
share.
mhm. Yeah, so for me, like I guess the first aha moment for me was in that part where it says invite people to just take a look, because I've always had an issue with that too. Of course, that's uncomfortable. Since I'm not making any money, I've never really been able to build. I've had a few people buy from me, but not really ever do the business. And he says, like, what if you're not making any income right now? And that's me. I'm like, okay, why am I going to invite if I can't really say that I'm making money? And he says that it's about why, why you're doing it. That's more important, and that was my aha moment. Like, that's true. It's not about, I can't say I'm making this much money right now, but this is what I'm going for. And for me, it would be more freedom to be with my children. It wouldn't really be I guess, the money, but it would be more having that time with them. Mhm.
That's right. And that's a huge objection, I think, for a lot of people. I think a
Mhm.
lot of folks feel like, how can I share if I don't have that $20,000 paycheck, right? So how am I
Yes.
supposed to share
Mhm.
this? But like, this can be different for a lot of people. It might be like, I'm getting my oils covered, or
Mhm.
you know what, I'm still growing, I'm still learning, but here, come take a look. I feel like it takes the pressure off you of feeling like you need to show results, right? It's like, come take a look. This is what's possible. Really, it's up to you, right? Love it.
And to piggyback on that, I think it's really hard, for me at least, to get people to become a brand partner. So like buying into that, saying, let me help you get your oils paid for, where even if they're not enrolling in the beginning, if you are enrolling, you can at least start building your structure of what you need. Because that's how I got started, because I had 0 builders my first 4 years. I think I got to silver with no builders. I was literally the only builder. And so I've kind of had to like restart over again and enroll your closest friends or family that you can build under and bless. If you haven't done that, let me say that again. Enroll your closest friends or family that you can enroll under and bless. My sister, and I know Tracy as well, her sister, are our biggest legs. They don't do the business. Her sister doesn't do the business. My sister doesn't do the business, but we bless them. They use the products, they get a paycheck, but I am building an entire organization under them. So something to think about. Don't get frustrated if right away everyone's not like, I want to be a brand partner. Remember your why. Why are you doing it? Sure, I'm doing it to build my income too. And that's what this had to remind me of too. But I'm also doing it because these products are life-changing for me. And when you start enrolling people and they see that they're life-changing, that's when they're going to be like, well, wait, how do you help you get your oils paid for? So always go back to that why, because I know in those early days it is hard. So don't let that get you down. I love that you brought that up, Indira. Remember your why as you're starting, because that's critical.
I'm going to piggyback off you now. And when you said about blessing someone and saying like, you know, that you can build under, don't underestimate the idea that they may eventually take on that and that they may eventually decide, you know what, this is a pretty sweet deal, because I've built under my sister the entire time since the very beginning. And she went to convention for the first year this year, and she is on fire now. She is telling everybody about the oils. She's actually gone to a couple of Zoom calls that she's been on Zoom calls now that she's never been on before. And I mean, like, this is like my dream come true at this point. So I mean, this is exactly what I've always wanted, was for her to do something with it, because I thought she'd always be wonderful. So that is always something to keep in mind, that, you know, wherever you're building, you could definitely have someone that's gonna, you know, get that spark under them too.
Something I would like to share that something that I have learned throughout the years building the business is that my wife has evolved throughout the years. So my wife at the beginning, it was just for myself, to support my immune system and all those kind of things. And then it changed, like I wanted to have my products paid off. And then it kept changing and changing. And now my why is that, yes, I want to continue helping people, but my why now is looking through retirement. I want to have an income that I can replace when I stop working, so I can have that income coming. So it's gonna evolve, and sometimes people think that is being greedy. It's not being greedy, because you are replacing your income, so you're working still. And so that's the way that I see it, you know, is that your what is going to evolve, but it's going to evolve on the needs that you have at that moment. And but I have always said that I'm going to continue helping people because I'm passionate about it, and everybody needs to know about how good Young Living is. But it's okay, like, if your why is like you want to look for that income that is going to help you continue to retirement or whatever is your need at that time.
Yeah, Carmen, that is so good. And I feel like the book does such a great job of that. So I can't even tell you, my 12-year-old, like, we look on Instagram Reels together. We're looking at cat videos and other things. And, you know, business things come up because I love to look at, you know, I just like business in general. Let me just tell you, the kids, they're all like thinking, how can I start a business? How can I start a business? We talk real estate. You guys, like, think about people you know. Think about like the equity, the money that you need to do any other kind of, like, you know, residual type business. If it was a franchise, if it was real estate, you would need to have a lot of capital in order to invest in that. But what do you need to start a Young Living business, right? I mean, literally, you could start with anything, right? We suggest getting a kit, but it could be $100 order, and that's it. That's your only entry into getting started with your business. You could be enrolling, you could hit executive next month if you wanted to. So it's one of those things where I feel like, you know, sometimes we're intimidated talking to people who might be interested in business opportunities. We know at least 10 people who are probably thinking about a second home they want to buy, real estate, a business venture they want to start, right? Why aren't we talking to them about network marketing? It operates in the same way, right? Except the capital isn't required. But think about anybody who's getting into real estate, right? Or an Airbnb or whatever. They're going to be doing the same type of actions, right? Like they're going to be doing a lot of work in the beginning. That's the whole concept of like the 4-year career, is like moving that boulder up the hill. They're doing a lot of work because eventually they're going to have that payoff, right? Where you're doing a little bit less work. Maybe you're just kind of more on like a maintenance mode because you've done the work. You've enrolled your 4, who's enrolled their 4, who's enrolled their 4. So that, again, you're doing that work in the beginning and seeing that income come again and again and again. So I'll just tell you, just piggybacking off of what Carmen said, that whole idea of asset income, of I'm putting in this work and I'm going to get paid on it year after year after year, even if I'm on vacation, even if I take a sabbatical, even if I decide to retire, I'm still getting paid on this business, not like, a 9-to-5 job, a corporate job where you're getting, paid for time for dollars. Like that is huge. I think that really speaks to everybody. So I love kind of highlighting that part of the book. The other thing that I want to tell you is I came from a corporate background, and I've been invited to things before, and I was like, I'm not going to that. I'm not doing that. You're crazy. I'm not going to that. And it just so happened I was meant to enroll with Lindsay. Truly, I was meant to enroll with her because she also had a corporate background. I'm not sure if I would have enrolled with anybody else, just because I related so much to her. We both worked in corporate. She was in tech. I was in marketing. Like we had a lot of, similarities. We both liked cooking and food blogging and all of this. But there was just something about like, she was like, take a look. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. Like, I have a corporate background. What am I going to do with this? And when I read the book, it really legitimized the network marketing business for me. I probably wouldn't have considered it if I didn't read the book. It truly solidified it for me. So you probably have people in your life who, like Indira was saying, right? Like her mom, like she needs to read the 4-year career. So can I just tell you, I don't know if you guys noticed this. I know we all might have different versions of the book. Warren Buffett owns a network marketing company. Did you know he owns Pampered Chef? Who is going to criticize anything Warren Buffett does? We all would love to have his portfolio, right? One of the richest men in the world owns not one, he owns 3 network marketing companies. I would be like, Warren Buffett, boom, book down, you need to just sign up right now. But just saying, for anybody that you may know who might come from a more of a traditional like corporate type background, this is a great book to give to them, because then they will understand just all of the benefits of network marketing and what it can do for them. So just want to put that out there, that this is what really solidified it for me. Like not the scripts, not all the other things. It was this book. It really was. Yeah, right? Wish you had read the book sooner. Yeah.
Tracy, something that pointed out to me when I was reading is mainly is like to listen to the people around you and listen to what they're talking about. I've been doing a lot of pop-up markets this summer, and surprisingly, it's asking their why. Like, what brings you to my booth? How can I help you? And I actually had this one guy was like, do you have any like manly smells? Because like my wife makes me smell like a fruity pop or something like that. And I was just like, well, I mean, everyone loves a good sweet, but I mean, hey, I was like, we got a little bit of everything for you. So like he actually looked at my oils, and he was introduced to like the clove, to sandalwood, to a little bit of everything. And he was actually amazed on how natural they smell, and how, like, for instance, like nutmeg and cinnamon, it smelled like the real thing to him. He ended up meeting with his wife and me, and then they ended up signing up for an account. And now they're like picking out their own oils. They're messaging me to try to find different recipes, like in blends that they can make. So one of the oils that I'm actually making for him is like a welcome gift. Is like the spiced sandalwood. I don't know if you can really see it. Kind of it has sandalwood, vanilla, clove, cinnamon, and ginger. So he actually made that blend on the spot with the oils. So it's honestly about asking what they need and what their intentions are for the oils. Definitely jumping in. And sometimes you do have to have those hard questions. I hear a lot of people's why stories, like, oh, they have arthritis or they have ADHD or something like that. And it also too helps me relate because I was scared to ask those questions. I was scared to jump on the oils. I was scared to fail at it. So definitely a big impact when, especially, not only the wives are getting involved, but the husbands are getting involved, and it becomes a family oriented scenario as well.
That's so good. Thank you for sharing. You guys, my Zoom is going to cut out in about 3 minutes. I know, I've got the free Zoom. But would you guys like to hop back in here? I know you're all laughing at me. Would you like to hop back in and just kind of continue the conversation for like another 5 or 10 minutes? Yeah, let's do it. Anyone else have an aha moment, or tell me, what do you feel like you're going to do differently now that you've read at least the first half of this book? Like, what are you going to do differently in your business now that you've done this?
So I've got something that I liked.
Please.
There's a quote on page 29 of my book. We probably all have the same number of books. I have like pages and stuff, I would assume. But it says, there does not have to be failure. There can be either success or learning, providing we learn from every experience. Which I really love that, because in this business, there are so many just like seasons you can go through and so many like ups and downs of enrollment and not, and feeling like you're really helping and serving people, and then having seasons where you have to step back and, you know, take time and whatnot. So I really love that about this business, is that you put into it and you get out of it what you put into it, but it also is forgiving enough that you can step back and do what you need to do personally as well. But the consistency is still, for me, I like to try to be consistent across the board with just keeping somewhat active, but you're allowed to have like the ebbs and flows and feeling like you're still learning, but not failing. But, you know, there's always the ups and downs of the success and the learning. I like that there's no failure. So that's a good mindset thing to also keep in mind whenever you're feeling like the doubt and whatnot that can creep up in this business too. So I liked that.
That was so good, Katie. Love, love, love that. Always learning, growing and learning. And you can, yeah, you've got seasons. Trust me, I know that for sure.
So this wasn't in the book. This was from when we went to the fireside chat. But this just kind of, I just love the fact that he said this at the chat, and it kind of speaks to the whole self-doubt thing. And I can't tell you how many times I've already used this little quote that he said when he talked about the the guy. I can't even remember who. Oh, maybe it was the Amway guy. I can't remember. But he said, when you don't know something, you don't have to know like every little thing, because I always am that person that feels like they have to know like every little detail about every little thing. And if they don't, then I do kind of feel like I've failed somebody, right? And now I'm always like, well, I don't know about that. I just think that it really works for me, or whatever, you know, like, and whoever was at that fireside chat knows the whole story behind it. But the guy was like really the top salesperson for Amway, but he was really like, he acted like he was this hillbilly type redneck guy that you would never ever guess that he was the top salesperson for Amway and made billions of dollars or whatever. Because that was really like his pitch, was that, well, I don't know about that, if he didn't know the answer. And really, you don't have to know everything. You don't have to don't have self-doubt. Just don't have it. It doesn't exist. Just have that mindset that self-doubt doesn't exist, and have that little pot of fallbacks for when you don't know something. It doesn't mean that you can, you know, never find those things out and not research or whatever, but the idea that you have to know everything doesn't exist. You don't have to know everything. Just have your resources. And, you know, when you have to be put on the spot with that, you know, with something, I don't know about that. I just know that it works for me, or it works for this, or whatever, you know. I loved that. I think that really does help with the whole self-doubt concept.
Amy, that is so good. I absolutely remember that part. And he said this for years, and it works for everything. And the whole idea behind it is that that's what's duplicable, right? Maybe if you're like a science geek and like you know everything about body systems and you're like the essential oil encyclopedia, like that's wonderful. But guess what? That's not going to help you build a Young Living business, because no one is going to feel like they can be as good as you, right? They're not going to feel like, well, I don't know everything about essential oils, so I can't be successful like her. But that also goes for the business too, right? Like if you're sort of like, if people feel like, well, she knows everything about the business and how to build a business, so I don't feel like I can do this. So I love that whole, I don't know about that, but what I do know is I read the 4-year career. And since then, my business has grown to, you know, XYZ. Or since then, I've enrolled 2 people this month. I don't know about that, right? I don't know about, you know, maybe someone asks you about some science about some essential oil. I don't know. All I know is when I take it, I feel amazing. I have more energy. I lost weight or whatever it is. So I think that's a good sort of for any objection, for any question that you get, if you really don't know, just put it in there. I don't know about that, because that's what's duplicable, is like showing them a resource, Yeah. I love it.
I think also too, Tracy, my video went out, so I apologize. But one of the biggest takeaway as far as like building like a team and actually like doing pop-ups and everything, it's a quote that one of my teachers told me in college right before graduation. She said, like, you never stop learning, no matter how big your degree is, no matter how much schooling you think you can get. You are always learning something new from someone every single day, even if it's the simplest things. So I actually did a podcast call with Good Foods Grocery that's local. It's going to be releasing in September. And I actually shared how I started my journey and how like you and Chelsea and Jen and everyone was a part of it. Like everyone has their different viewpoints of it. Everyone has their own story. And I kind of like talk to him about how I incorporated what I've learned on the Zoom calls, what I've incorporated like with the messages that y'all are sending me. Like I was in a dark time, especially with my grandparents getting sick. I lost 2 grandparents with under a year, and I was in a dark place. And the best thing I love about the community and what I'm excited about for the convention as well is that like it's a family. Like everyone's not trying to diminish anyone. They're just, everyone is putting in their ideas and their thoughts to help you grow, not to bring you down. So that's what I'm most excited about as well, is like connecting with Young Living and connecting with everyone a part of it, because had it not been for Young Living, I don't know where I would have been. It's just been like a dark time. So I really appreciate everyone on this call as well. I'm taking notes. I'm making sure that whatever I'm learning for tonight, I'm going to incorporate it into my event this weekend. And I look forward to everyone meeting everyone, not only in the convention, but as well as like the ones that are close by as well.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing, Christine. Yeah, good tips. And I'm so glad. The community is everything. That's kind of the thing, right? There are other network marketing companies. There are other businesses, obviously, that people can do, right? But it's kind of lonely, right? We have an amazing community. This is the perk that he doesn't really describe in the book, right? He does talk about, you know, being mentored by millionaires, right? But having the community, that's such a supportive community where everybody's just rooting for each other and helping each other. And, you know, you guys, we talk about the annual convention in Utah every summer. That's our adult summer camp. Like we've coined that. Other teams are copying us now, but we actually coined that last year. But that's what people want. They want to have that camaraderie, that sisterhood. I mean, of course, we have men who join us too, but just that community that we have. And again, you know, you can have a 4-year career anywhere, but this is really where it's at for sure. I agree with you. It's so good. Well, you know, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I wanted to, so the next time we're going to have this call, we're going to finish the other half of the book. There are some great stories, depending on the version that you have. I mean, I still have like my original book with like really old stories. But so you might have some different bios in the back. It doesn't matter, you know, just read them because I think they're all really inspirational. But can I tell you something that's super interesting? Just kind of like thinking about this and just thinking about, what an impact this book has made, when I look at the stories from the very first book that I had from like, I don't know, 2015 or 2016 to like the most recent edition, the people that are featured are still top leaders within Young Living. I mean, what does that say? What does that say, right? Like they believed in this model, this 4-year career. This is what they use to like pass on to other people. That's the longevity, right, of Young Living and really truly using this. Like I just thinking about other business training and books, I think they're all wonderful. Other podcasts, I think they're all wonderful. I personally always come back to this one because it really was, like I said, life-changing for me. And I know for many of you too, like giving you a tool to give to someone else, but also just dispelling a lot of myths about network marketing and also showing you what the potential of the market and the business could be. I mean, this really is like the #1 book. Again, we have been so focused on the how, and we're so good at it too. I'm definitely like a how person myself. I like to do tutorials and show screenshots and explain things and do videos. And so I'm speaking of myself as well. I definitely need to focus on the why. So I want to challenge you guys before the next call, like think about this. And if you pass it on, that's awesome too. If you have an extra copy, you could always do that. But who do you know? Let's start working on our 4. I'm going to do this, right? We need some action. I'm the action person. Like, let's start thinking, who are 4 people we think we can pass this on to? You might have already gotten started. Katie's already gotten started, right? But who do you know, right, that you think would really be changed with a 4-year career? Start thinking about that, right? If you have an extra copy, maybe gift it out to them. If you haven't read your second half yet, do that first before you pass it on. I actually have 2 books because I want to have one and I want to put one in rotation. That's kind of my idea. But just be thinking about that, okay, before the next call. Okay, anyone else want to add anything before we go? All good?
I just wanted to say really quick that I'm re-energized because where I lack is sharing the business opportunity. For some reason, it makes me uncomfortable, and I don't know why, because obviously I love the model, but I have a hard time bringing it up to other people, and I know that's my own personal thing I need to get over, which is why I need to read this book again. Probably why I built myself to silver, because it was easier to do that than to talk about the business side, which was really uncomfortable for me. So this is getting me out of my comfort zone and remembering that, other people need to know about that part of the business, that side of Young Living as well. So that's going to be what I'm really working on for myself.
That's so good, Sherry. I think when we talk to a lot of people, that is a very common thing. We're good at recommending the product. We're good at sharing, right? Share your link, do this, but talking about the business is really difficult. I'm also guilty of it. And the funny thing is I like talking about money. I like talking about like numbers. Like I am regularly talking to people about like, what's your retirement plan look like? What are you doing? What are your, I love that because I think it's such an important thing. I even talk to my kids about it, right? Like, what are your plans? How are you going to do this? How are you going to support a family? And so why is it so difficult to talk about the business, right? I don't know what it is. Maybe it's sort of our culture, but like, this is going to be huge for us because again, the book kind of does the heavy lifting for us. We just need to invite someone to take a look, right? Just like what Amy was saying, I don't know about that, right? Like that's one phrase you need to remember. The next phrase, we need to like make it a part of like our everyday, like what we're saying is, want to just take a look, right? You don't even have to explain a lot, like just take a look and I'll follow up with you. The other thing that Richard says is, he does the if I will you, like if I give you this book, will you read it? Right? If I give you this book and will you read it in a week, I'll follow up with you. And then you can just kind of give it out. But I think that's such a great tool. But I love that, Sherry. Thank you. I think many of us are in agreement.
I have a question. Is there any restriction from corporate about how much we can share information about the business? Because I know that we cannot be, besides the income disclosure, like sharing what we actually are earning And I know that in the past it was like not to do that. And but I don't know, because as I said before, I have a testimony how the business side of Young Living has helped us financially in our home. And but how much I can like publicly disclose. So maybe that is one part that is holding me to talk about the business. Yes, I have shared that with people, but like close friends, and but not publicly. And so I don't know how much I can share it and then not to get in trouble, or I don't know. Is there somewhere in, I don't know, in the website or the conduct, or I don't know, if you can guide me on that, so then I can be ready to share, not and being compliant with it.
Yeah, definitely. So, in a nutshell, in anything publicly or social media, like a public social media, we cannot be sharing screenshots of checks, right? Like what we're getting paid and things like that. You would want to defer to the income disclosure statement, which shows averages by rank. That's definitely like the de facto what I would do. If you were like personally hanging out with somebody, like around the kitchen table, you can kind of do what you want. But I do think I would personally preface with like, this is work. This isn't free money. Like this is work. This is not a just, yeah, the money is kind of coming in, but I didn't do anything. Like I have been working on this, but look at the fruits of my labor, right? There were months where maybe I wasn't enrolling, but I was still earning a check. Like that's the benefit of this business, is that ongoing asset that you're earning, that asset income or residual income. I actually think residual income might be a hot word. But what was interesting is that somebody said it at convention, and I was like, hold on, did they actually say that? Like corporate had said it. So I don't know if they're going to loosen restrictions around it, but we used to be able to say residual income. But what I would say is, I would say asset income, because I think a lot of people understand that term, in particular when you frame it around like real estate, because that's
Okay.
asset, right? That's asset income. Or like, people will invest their money in stocks, right? That's also asset income. So you can definitely do that.
Yeah, you're correct with that word, because I'm like you. I love talking about money because I budget, and I'm in a journey of being totally debt free and stuff like that. And so I'm so into it to talk to about it to everybody about how to become debt free. And so that's why I'm like, but I can tell them about what I'm doing with my side hustle. But I was like, oh, but how can I just share it so they can actually say, okay, so is that help her to be debt free? So I can do it too. But I wasn't sure how to put it out there. Yeah. But that
Carmen,
is the key word, assets. Yeah.
asset.
Mhm.
And you know what?
Mhm.
I think after our next book call, maybe we need to come together for anybody who wants to do some like business type classes. We used to do them a lot more regularly. But maybe that's something we need to brainstorm, is how do we come up with, a class or a script on talking about the business. I will tell you a very interesting stat. I came in, this is going into my 11th year now. And so I had only seen this sort of like crazy growth that like went through the roof. But I think roughly about 12 or 14 years ago, it was sort of like a similar sort of like financial situation with the economy, right? Like economy was not so hot, but guess what was popping? When economy is not so hot, it is the number one time to be talking to people about the business, because guess what everybody needs? Everybody needs money. Everybody's looking for a way, even if it's $50, $100, like I'm telling you, at the gas pump, the grocery store, one dinner out, like anything will help. And so that was a big contributor to the crazy growth that Young Living and a lot of network marketing companies saw, was because the last cycle of this, it was a similar sort of economic situation. So we're actually in kind of the best time to be talking about the business. So this is all incredibly timely, but maybe this will be our homework after our second call, is let's start talking about how do we get out there. We're going to come up with our 4, right? Or naming our 4 people. Who can we give the book to or pass the book on to? And we can come up with some ideas on how do we start teaching this, because I think that's a big piece. I'm with you, Carmen.
Yeah, that will be amazing. And come with me. I'm in it.
I'm in it too. I like your idea of like, maybe it's like a budgeting, and then it kind of also then, forays into let's help you make some side hustle. Yeah.
Oh, I'm telling you, in my budget, Young Living has a line there, and it's so good because you don't feel guilty about it. And when you tell that to people, they because they ask you to say, oh, but that is an extra money that I'm spending. Say, no, you do. It's like where we're telling people this is transferring, I forgot the term, transfer buying.
Yes.
And so, but you actually, when you have it in your budget, it doesn't hurt because you already planned for it. And that's how I'm being maybe explaining it more to people, that we're not spending more money.
That's so good. I love it. Oh, we have lots of good things to think about before the next call. So make sure you read the second half, be thinking of your 4, and let's start brainstorming of how we could start doing some business classes too, and invite our 4, who then can then invite their 4 and their 4, and so on. So love it. Thanks everybody for being on tonight. All right, bye. We'll have the recording up soon. So if you have anybody who needs to be here or wanted to be here, we'll be able to share it, okay? All right, bye everybody. Have a good night.